Hello and welcome to my video, lesson 5.4 on graphing and especially regression analysis and scatter plots. And so we're looking at regression analysis on quadratics mostly, but also cubic functions. Linear would be the last topic, 5.4, and exponential and logarithmic. So you can do all of those with this lesson. However, we focus more so on the quadratic. Okay, more than anything. But all of those things can definitely happen, and I believe this first one is cubic. So let's take a look here. So let's just plug in this data. So if you don't remember, you can watch here or you can watch the last video, but basically we click Stat, Edit, and we press Enter. So we're putting in our X values, so 1, Enter, 2, Enter, 3, Enter, 4, Enter, 5. And then we go, press Enter, go over to the other side. We do 1, Enter. Now we're doing our Y values. 4. So this is just like what we see right here. Right? So I'm just plugging it in. And then one thing you need to check is that you have if you don't see anything on the graph, click second function and you want to turn your stat plot on. So if it isn't on yet, turn it on, then try graphing. Now I only see 2 points, and we got to ask ourselves, why is that? Well, one thing you can do, you can always do this, if you don't see what you want to see on your graph, and it's using stat, you want to go zoom 9, and it should show you your graph. Okay, so you get to see zoom 9 gets to show you zoom stat is the zoom statistic is what it's looking for. So all of your stat plot that you've done is now up. Okay, so those are our 5 points. That's great. So find the equation. So we've graphed it. We haven't found the equation, but we only graphed the data points, not the actual line. So let's do that. So we're going to do our first regression of the day. So calc, go down to the one that applies. So linear is 4, quadratic is 5. So this is degree 1, degree 2, degree 3, degree 4. And then there's a linear, but A and B are swapped. It's kind of strange. Logarithmic is over here. Exponential is there. And power, regression, anyways, there's a couple different types of regression. So this one is the one we're looking at for this question, cubic. So it's degree 3. So we're going to press Enter. All of them work the same way. You're going to store the equation. So you're going to go variables, vars. Then you go to y variables, y vars. Function at y1. So now what we're doing is we're adding it. So when it calculates the regression, it's storing it into the y1 spot. Okay, so that where it says y equals at the top left, it's storing in that spot. So calculate. So now it's got itself an equation, so where a is 1, and the rest of them are all basically 0. This e shows times 10 to the negative 12, so it's basically 0. So b, c, and d are all 0, and a is 1. So it's just y equals x cubed, a very simple cubic function. So now that we've done that, it's showing up there. The only reason why it wouldn't show up is if you forgot to store it or put it in here. Okay, so now that it's in there, we graph it and we can see it. So now we need to find, so we've done these first two. Now we need to find where y equals 100. Well, what I recommend is going down to here and just putting it in and letting the calculator do the work for you. So y equals 100, and so you can go second function calc, intersect, first curve, second curve is red, first curve is blue, second curve is red, that's all that's showing it to you. Oh, I don't think I can press and hold. On the calculator you can press and hold and it slides quickly. Okay, somewhere here-ish, it says guess, so we're guessing it's roughly there. And so it tells us that x is 4.64, where y is 100. Okay, now we need to find, what if x is 9? Well, if you already have a function listed, this is what I recommend you do. Second function, table, and then you can see where x is 9, it's all the way here. So where x is 9, y would be 729. You could also go back into here and look at what it would be. So if we know that our function is y equals x cubed, we can actually just write in 9 instead of x, and so that would be 729. So you don't have to use the table of values, but you can. Sometimes that's helpful, especially if you're doing multiple questions at once. One thing to also note is that you can adjust your table. So you can make it start at a negative value. You can make it go up by 0.5. And so when we have that, we'll see it starts at -1, goes up by 0.5 every time. So you can adjust the table and how it works. Yeah, that's helpful. Helpful to know. Okay, we're done that first question. Okay, looking at the second question, Sally throws a ball off of her apartment balcony. Below is a table of values which shows the ball over time. So here's some time and here's some heights. Find the equation, graph the above data. So the reason why there's decimal answers here, or decimal heights, is because I wanted it to be realistic. So if you graph this, if you find the equation, you'll actually find a realistic situation on planet Earth. So I will delete these two. You guys should pause the video and try this out for yourself. So once you're ready, try out this question for yourself. Okay, so what do you have to do? We have to put the data into our stat. So right here, we're going to go to stat, edit, and then we're going to start typing in our data. 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2. Now we'll go across. 47.548, 40.19, 27.928, 10.76. Okay, because there's only 4 data points, it's not going to be a perfect equation, but it'll probably get pretty close. So now if you try graphing it, what happens? Well, you can see something going on, but not much. So maybe press zoom 9 and see what it looks like. Okay, it looks a little bit better. Okay, so find the equation. Well, now what we have to do, stat, calc, down to, this is, because it is falling, something falling, then we know that it is gravity. All right, gravity is what's acting on it, which means that it's quadratic. Okay, so we're going to use the quadratic. Okay, and we're going to store the variable y vars y1. Calculate. There it is. And we have 2 useful values. B is times 10 to the -4, so it pretty much doesn't matter at all. So now it's stored in our graph, or in our y spot, and so now we can see it going down. Okay, so you can see that Sally threw the ball up here, and she threw it forwards, or dropped it perhaps. Maybe dropped is probably a better word. And it kind of just, over time, it fell to the ground. Okay, so what is the initial height of the balcony? So how can we figure that out? Well, at the time 0, where t equals 0, what is the height? Okay, so we can use the table of values, which is 50, or you can also go back to here and you can see that it is going to have a 50 value if x is 0 in both spots. Okay, what is the time it takes for the ball to hit the ground? Actually, we're going to have to probably zoom out a little bit. So 0 to 3 seconds. We're going to go to 0. We're going to go to 55. I'm just going to adjust the window just slightly so that we can see a little bit more clearly. Okay, so what's the time for it to hit the ground? Well, we're going to try to calculate or find the 0 position. So second function, calc, the 0. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to find left bound, right bound, and we're going to guess it's somewhere there-ish. And so now it tells us that the 0 is, so where the height equals 0, t equals 2.26 seconds. All right. So I hope that this video helped you guys understand 5.4, graphing and regression analysis a little bit better. Good luck and have a nice day.